Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining from today. It's another beautiful Saturday here, and I'm excited to be with you guys today. I have a special guest. Some would say the most talented guest that I could ever have had on my program in the industry joining us today. And she's going to introduce herself to us and let us know who she is, what she does, who she works with. And we're just going to sit and talk with her a little bit. We're going to learn all the inside knowledge that she has to offer today. So I'm excited for our guest today. Portia, thank you for joining us. Where are you joining us
Absolutely.
from?
I'm Los Angeles, beautiful Los Angeles,
Okay, very
crisp and
nice.
cool Los Angeles this morning.
Wasn't it raining this last week?
Yes, it was, which it's always an event for us in LA when we do get rain.
Right. Those
Yeah,
people who have never been to LA or have never had an opportunity to visit that beautiful area, it never rains in LA. So when it does, it's like the apocalypse is happening. Everybody on the road is doesn't know how to drive, right?
yeah. I mean, it's a little exactly. And because it's so dry, the all the oil, from the rain, when it gets wet, raises to the top of the streets, and so people think, oh, I can still drive the same, and you can't. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So that's what makes it so kooky.
And LA traffic is bad enough as it is, and then of course you add the rain on top, it doesn't help.
No, 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 no.
But I love it. I
It,
love it when it rains in LA. It's just kind of one of those moments that you don't get it very often. So it's like a nice change. I may be one of the weird ones that enjoys the rain, but that's my perspective. As long as I don't have to be out in it, right?
right, that's right. And and what it does, it's clear. People when it rains, they like shelter in place. It calms the streets down. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The traffic gets less eventually. So
Right,
that's
right.
nice.
It's just a nice change. Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad that you guys, obviously it's springtime there, so going through a little bit of a season change, but the weather's always great in LA. I love it. So
yeah, it
you're
is.
joining us from LA, and do you mind telling our viewers today who you are, like who you work with, and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Portia Scott. I'm a talent agent at Coast to Coast Talent Group in Los Angeles, and I run the voiceover department. And so we're all about voiceover. I've been a voiceover agent for 27, 28 years this year, so quite some time. And I have a couple. My background is as an actor, so I have the unique perspective to agents from an actor's perspective, and that's just kind of my brand and who I am and sort of how I approach and deal with talent. I download a lot of auditions, so I listen to a lot of things. I like to stay in rooms like this, just to stay current, to stay relevant. When you've done something for so long, you can become kind of, glib and kind of, oh, I've done this so long, like it just rolls off, my back and the way things get done. And actually, you really do to stay competitive because they're always, younger, new agents coming into the industry. Things are shifting and changing, and you really have to. I like to keep my finger on the pulse, if you will, to stay current, to stay relevant, to stay competitive. Even as an agent.
Nice. And so you've been working for about 20 plus years, and let's I like to know kind of the backstory. So what caused you, or what was the door that opened that allowed you to get involved in as a voice?
Sure. So like I said, background as an actor, sort of transitioned out of acting in about 1998. Before I became an agent, I was in casting. I was casting director, and I was waiting for my next show to start. It was independent. I wasn't on a particular series, so I booked a job as casting director, and I was waiting for the next job to start. And I had an opportunity to go to an agency. They were One of their agents had left, and they just needed somebody to come in for the week. They were doing all their interviews to meet new agents, trying to fill the desk. So the desk happened to be voiceover, and so I just sort of kind of helped to coordinate, do stuff. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Pay me cash, give me the trades. Back in the day, so I could look at the trades. Because I was like, oh, I know a trade subscription used to be super expensive. And so I started on a Monday, and on Friday they offered me the job.
Nice. Were you
I,
thinking at the time that this would be good for you to kind of know what was being cast for yourself? Were you thinking, oh, I get the insider knowledge?
no, not so much. I like kind of. I'll be honest with you. The first 10 years I was an agent, I was really trying to get out of it. I was always looking for another job or to do something else. I was really trying to get out of it. The fact what I liked, why I took the job, what I liked is that I got to work with actors because in those days the actors would audition. They'd come into the booth. They come to the agency and we would have the agency had booths, right? And this was in the kids department, so I was a youth agent, representing youth talent at the time. Still represent youth and adult talent, but the actors would come to the agency and we'd audition them. And so before we had booth directors, the agents kind of would do the job. And so that part for me, I was like, oh, this is fun. I enjoyed working on the scripts with them, giving them direction, what to do. And then when they booked the job, it was rewarding only not for them, but rewarding for me, not just even on a money side, but just on the side that, oh, I gave them notes that helped them and they won the job. And that's the part of the job I to this day, I still love. It was all the other part, you know what I mean? Having to sign talent and all the other things. I was like, oh, I don't want to do all that. I just want to do it I just want to work in the booth. So, but that's the part. That's the magic sauce. Even today, when I download auditions, and if time permits, I can give a note and I can call and say, do this, do that. Think about it like this, think about it like that, to help the performance. And then when they win the job, I always love that. I love
Nice.
being able to give bookings. I love being able to, especially if it's somebody's first booking, if it's somebody's booking that gets them into the union. That's super exciting. So that's the part that's really rewarding for me, even today.
So you like the fact that you could help those that were in your space and be able to coach and guide them. Now, obviously, things have changed, quite a bit in the industry. So
Quite a bit.
back in the day for voiceover, you guys used to have the voiceover studio in your office,
Yep.
but now that's no longer, right?
No, the actors have the studios now. The actors. You must have a home studio. You must have a home setup. You know, not only just to audition the job, but in many cases to work the job. Like if you're not in LA, if you're not in Los Angeles, and major hub, right? You have to have a home studio so that you could obviously audition, but so that you can work the job. Because sometimes the ad agency or producers, they don't want to pay for a studio or send you to a studio if you're not in Los Angeles. So
Right.
home studio, the actors all have it now.
So they have a home studio, obviously, to audition and to do that and to submit. But when they get the role, is that typically, do they still record at their home studio, or do they have to come to you, or do they go to the studios?
Hang on a second, I lost the audio.
Oh no, can you hear me?
What happened?
Mic check one.
There we go. There we go. Okay, my
You can hear me.
earbud.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll
What
repeat the
happened?
question
Sure.
there. So they have the home studio to do their self recordings for auditions, but when they book a role, is that typically done at home as well, or what does that usually look like?
It depends. Yes, it depends. So if the casting came in, say it's a commercial, and the casting came in and said LA only, in studio, okay, or home studio. Um, if you're not in LA, then you need to have a home studio to be able to do the job from. Or sometimes they'll say in studio only, LA only. That'll happen. But if that doesn't casting doesn't say that, than if you have a home studio, you could do the job. That's on a commercial side. Animation might be a little bit more open to sending you to a studio, say in Dallas. If you're a Dallas talent, they'll see talent from all over, and if and then they'll book a studio for you to record in. But that's animation. Mostly in commercial, you have to have your own studio. Rarely do they send you to a studio outside of Los Angeles. So it's shifted some, but the key factor is having a home studio and a
Got it.
home studio to be able to, have Source Connect standard, so that the studio is broadcast ready, and so you can actually work the job from the studio. That's essential.
Okay. And so when I'm picturing studio, right, I'm picturing this whole entire setup and lots of expensive equipment. Is that the reality, or what do you typically require when you bring somebody on? What do you require equipment
Uh,
wise?
sure. No, what I require is people to have, a pretty good microphone. And I won't tell you what kind because a microphone is also based on your space. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to have sort of kind of a makeshift studio where it's not like maybe you're in your closet and you have like this really expensive mic that's going to overpower your space, right? You want to be able to have a space that you can quiet that's either what we call is a treated space or an actual recording booth. So one of those two, yes, being in your closet is good as long as you can dense out the sound. Typically, if you're in your closet, you're probably good enough for auditions, but maybe not bookings. So you need a really solid microphone, competitive microphone, an interface, something that's going to connect the audio through the mic so that it's nice and clean. And you don't want to record in your computer software. So no recording in GarageBand or whatever that is. You really want something like Adobe Audition, something to be able to a recording software. So to recap, that's a really good competitive microphone, a space that's either treated or a booth itself, a interface, and a recording software.
Okay.
So
And
those are the things.
and those are the things that are good enough for the auditions themselves.
That's right.
Now, as far as when it's like a large production, you're saying it just depends on what the production's looking for. Sometimes they'll
That's
book
right.
a space for you near your area, or they want you to actually come in person if it's even a very, very large production.
Yes, yeah. So either the options are that you have something to record in, a place to record in, or they'll book a studio for you. Just depends on how the casting comes in.
Now, I would imagine I've never auditioned for voiceover ever, so I've never, done anything like that. But I would imagine that voiceover tends to be a little bit different than live in-person acting because you're a character, but you don't have that instant reaction to the other actor that's in the scene.
Absolutely. It voiceover. I always think voiceover in some ways is almost the, the purest form of
Okay.
all of the arts in terms of performance arts in this realm, if you will, in that you've got to create all of um, the almost I call them I call voiceover little mini plays when you are the talent, you are the director, you are the costumer, you are, all of the things because you have to create this world. You have no one to act off. So you've got to have that microphone become a scene partner. You have to think about who's in the booth with you, who are you talking to, and where are you? Where are they? And what's the proximity of them? Right? Like right now, I'm not at my house. I'm in someone else's house right now. So my temperament is a little different right now than I would be if I were at home, where I'd be at home, I'd be alone, I'd be different. So you have to think about your environment and what you're creating. Because if you're just reading that script on the page, that's not going to be enough to compete, right? You have to think, your actors, your artists, You have to create a world around you so that you can tell the story that's on the page, whether it's commercial, video game, animation, whatever it is, you have to tell the story and take us on a journey. Because if you injure your copy, your sides, if you end your journey in the same place you started, then you've not revealed anything to us. You've not told us anything more. And that's what casting is listening for. They're listening for how, not just how you tell the story, but the way you navigate the story and the dynamics in the story. Like if I really want to make a point, I'm going to come in like this. Say this is the microphone, right? And I want to make a point. I'm going to come in a little bit closer to make that point on the microphone. If I'm just, talking, and maybe I'm talking to a couple of different people in the room while staying on the mic, but I'm looking at them. And just doing that is going to change. Just lifting my head up like that, you hear the difference in my voice as opposed to talking like that. So you have to physicalize and think about what it is, who you're talking to, where you are, what you want, ask questions. So it's acting. It's voiceover, but it's really voice acting. And that's what separates it from all the other disciplines because what the main key factor we remove is sight. We remove our sight because we just have our voice and our hearing. Those are the two senses that you have to acute and strengthen them so that you can tell those stories.
Nice. So obviously it's a talent in itself, and there's some very talented voiceover actors out there. But what would you recommend? I mean, obviously the skill set to learn this, what do you recommend if somebody's starting out right now and they've had no experience, but they're very interested in getting into voiceover work? What are some of the things that you would take stepwise to get started? Like, what's the first thing they should do, and then what should they do after that?
First thing they should do if they're stepping into this business brand new, take an acting class. Take an acting class. And
Even
and
if
and, and
even if they're only interested in voiceover, I meet people all the time
absolutely,
and they tell me I
absolutely.
only want to be a voiceover actor, right?
Voiceover actor, you must the foundation is acting.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter voiceover, stage, film, screen. The foundation is acting. So the very first thing I direct people to do is that step out of this concept of, well, I want to be a voiceover actor. You want to be an actor, and your discipline is voiceover. So as doctors, before they become doctors, they have all these other classes. Same thing if you're training to get a degree in acting, you have you have makeup classes, you have lighting classes, you have costume history classes, you have all of the classes around in the discipline. So if you want work in voiceover, the base is acting. So I said, in your community, in your town, scope out the top voice acting coaches and or classes, and start with an acting class, and then build from there. I say, right? I don't say, but it's said that it takes 4 years to get a bachelor's degree, 2 years to get an associate. So if you're stepping into this for the first time, you build out this part as a curriculum and use train. Don't go take one voiceover class, one acting class, and say, okay, I'm ready to do a demo. You are not. Repeat, you are not. So take classes, take acting classes, take improv classes, start to take and switch it up. Take classes in a classroom setting with multiple people. Do private classes. Mix up the curriculum. Make sort of a curriculum voiceover cocktail, I say, excuse me, and combine all the different all the different things around. Take animation, take commercial, take video game, take all those types of things. Improv. We rely on improvisation and animation heavily. And to understand that and to be able to execute that through material is I say also do
Okay, so improv classes are obviously very good. It's funny because I talk to a lot of different professionals, and they all kind of say the same thing. All roads lead to improv. It seems like they love to see that. Now, on the voiceover world, let's just say somebody has a really good, rich voice, right? And maybe doesn't have any experience. Do you recommend that they learn how to do different accents or how to do different characters with their voice, or can they just work within their own voice?
that. So we rarely use accents in voiceover. That's kind of a misnomer. People think, oh, I do all these accents. Well, that's great. But really, it's not something that is called upon heavily in voiceover. Um, and you have whatever voice print you have, whether you have a deep sort of rich baritone voice, whether you have a higher pitched voice where you speak a lot up in your head. You have all of that voice print. The key factor, one of the key factors, is being able to understand what your range is in this moment and how much you can flex that muscle where you are currently with what you have. Knowing that we have sort of three placement areas that we speak as normally, and as actors you want to voice actors you want to be able to sharpen, and understanding that once, like I just said, there's the deep sort of rich voice that I drop down here, which is a little lower in the morning for sure, and then I have my regular speaking voice, which is about here, and then sometimes I can push my voice up into my head, which is also a little harder in the morning, but sometimes we can do that. And learning how to transverse between those three voice placements and how to organically, one more time, organically use those voice placements for the work that you're doing. And knowing that if you're doing commercial work, it's all going to be here, all in that normal, regular throat voice, as we call it. In video games and animation, you might go down here, you might go up here. It just depends on, understanding actors, your body, your voice, that's your instrument. Where dancers have their bodies, musicians have instruments, painters have paints and easels and brushes. So we all have sort of different parts of our either body or tools that we use as instruments. And so having that those vocals as an instrument is a tool, and you sharpen it and you learn how to use it, and those are the things that sort of embody the actor and the voice actor.
Nice. And so let's say somebody's taking your advice, they go get some acting classes, they take some improv classes, they've worked on their craft for a couple of years. What would you say would be like the next step? So say they're kind of more not they're no longer the beginner, right? So now they have some experience under their belt. What do you recommend to some of your like current clients to improve their craft? Are there
Ah,
like
yeah. Yeah, so two things. So let's just say we're talking about this educational program, and say you're the senior, right? You're the senior. It's your senior year. You've done 4 years of training. You have a voiceover demo. You're ready to start submitting to agents to find representation. Maybe you've been submitting on Voice 123, and you've gotten maybe some response, and you're ready to take your work to market. You're going to get that voiceover resource guide, which is it's online. You could look it up, board.org, and you're going to go in there and you're going to look for an agent. You're going to go through, look in your town. And if you're starting out, you can't go to the top agencies. You're starting out. So you're probably not union. So look for the agencies that are open to taking non-union talent. Submit your demo when you're ready to submit to agents. You want to be able to, if you've got an email you send, this is what you do. Listen to me. A paragraph of a little bit about who you are, a paragraph. You're going to attach your demo. You're going to attach your resume. Don't send a link, because I question a link. Oh, I don't know if I want to click that link. What's that going to do? What's going to download on my computer? I'm not so sure about that. But if it's attached, I can take my cursor, I can roll it over the top of it, and I can continue working and listen to your demo. So that's what you want to do. If you are a client that I've signed, let's say, the second part to your question, I'm going to continue to encourage you to take classes. I'm going to encourage you to take, this casting director over here is doing class, that casting director. I'm going to send you to a lot of casting director classes so that you can be exposed to a lot of casting directors I work with. So when they say, oh, who are you with? Oh, we're with Coast to Coast. Oh, I know Portia, or I don't know Portia. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody
Right.
knows me, and that's okay. And so I'm gonna guide you to get exposure to the industry, to people that either I work with, people that I want to work with. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna guide you in that. I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna say go do conferences. We've got a lot of voiceover conferences. We've got VO Atlanta, which happens next. Oh my God, in 2 weeks. I'll be in Atlanta in 2 weeks doing
Nice.
VO Atlanta. I'm on a ton of panels. There's all these one voice. There's tons of voiceover conferences. I will encourage you to get out, meet your community, get into workout groups with other actors where you get up on the mic. They're in Zoom format where you get on up on the mic and you work out and you learn and you bounce off of each other. Once again, growing because you're constantly in training, even if you're on an animated series, even if you're on a couple of animated series, you have to continue to grow because the industry is always shifting and changing. So you
Yes.
want, like I said at the top of this, I have to stay in rooms like this and meet actors and talk to people and talk about industry and to continue to grow and stay current as opposed to just being in my little voiceover agent tower and just myopically doing that. That doesn't expose me. You know what I mean? And we all work remote now. So it's not like we're all out, when we do have events like NAVA, National Association of Voiceover Artists, quick shout out. They're amazing. If you don't know them, get online, nava.com, I think, or NAVA, NAVA. So check them out,
Okay.
National Association of Voiceover Artists, amazing. They host a big gala in December, and all of the community comes out: actors, casting directors, voice agents, you know, everybody, agents, and everybody comes out. So we get to sort of stay connected and talk about what's going on. We've got right now commercial voiceover has got some imprint shifts that are happening right now. Animation did a big imprint shift during the pandemic, so we just want to stay current and relevant to what's happening. It's super important because a lot of voiceover is reference. You always see there's a prototype, there's a reference, and if you don't know these references, it's hard to understand what's expected of you.
Got it. So when they send out the casting, they say they'll give a reference to what it is they're looking for.
Always.
Nice. I
Always,
love it.
and the reference is either connected to an actor, a television show, a type of commercial, a vibe that's connected. And if you're not familiar with maybe even who those actors are they're talking to in the reference or what the show is, you can always Google it and look it up or YouTube it and what have. But it's important to know these things. Once again, it's all about staying relevant.
And then, so you mentioned Nava. That's a site for where they can go to. What exactly do they do when they go to that site?
NAVA is the National Association of Voiceover Artists, and it's all things about. It's not a casting site, so it's not that. It's a site it's a business that has formed to help inform voice actors, to help voice actors, to just all things voice acting is super important to know what your protections are. They fought very hard to get a couple of bills passed to protect actors and AI, which is a huge issue in industry right now. Um, if you're, needing health, sometimes, health insurance, they can guide you to places that might help you with that regard. If you've got questions, if you're questioning a particular casting and it looks like it might be, not quite as transparent as it is, you can go to them and say, "Hey, I've gotten this audition request. I'm not sure that this looks right. Can you help assist in that?" So that it's an excellent organization, and it was formed by amazing, Tim Friedlander, Karen Gilfrey, and Matthew Parnham. The three of them run it, and they're amazing humans, and they really care. And they're at typically you'll see the NAVA table at any of the conferences and so forth. So it's a great organization.
I would imagine as a side effect of your job that you probably are listening to people all the time for their voice quality. And so have you ever like walked into a cafe or gotten get coffee in the morning and the barista's working behind the counter and you think to yourself, man, they would be great at voiceover. I'm sure that
Yeah,
happens, right?
yeah, it does. It does happen. It does happen. And my hope is that if I hear when I hear that voice, my hope is that they're already an actor. Because if they're not an actor, to develop that, that's what unfortunately I don't have. I can't take the time to develop someone like that, but I'll question them. I say, hey, oh my gosh, your voice is amazing. And no, people tell me that are you an actor? Is my first question. And if they are, then I kind of get into it with them. And then if they aren't, I'm like, well, you should think about taking some acting classes and think about that if you have interest in that. So yeah, absolutely, it happens.
So you tell the waitress, hey, have you ever you ask her if she's an actor. Well, that's the good thing about LA is everybody's an actor, right? Pretty much.
Pretty much, pretty much. The industry is big here on all sides. So, and we'd
Right.
like to keep it that way. We've had some, like we've, industry has lost some business to some of the other states because of the tax incentives. So there is that, but yeah, it's an industry town for sure.
Have you ever signed anyone like that where you asked them, "Hey, are you an actor?" and they said yes, and you said, "Well, here's my card, send me some information." Has that ever occurred?
Yeah, oh, sure, sure, sure. And in fact, that when I go to View Atlanta, that's what I'm gonna be doing. I always walk away with signing quite a few clients out of View Atlanta. So one of the reasons why I get to go because agents go, and there's going to be heavy agent representation this year at the conference. So yeah, there's that, and sometimes absolutely. I'll tell folks, hey, reach out. This is my email. Reach out send me your demos. Typically, what I'll go with that. It's like, okay, fantastic. Do you have a demo? Because everything I have to have a demo, no matter what. So you know what I mean. So some folks I'm like, yeah, let's put together a demo and send it to me, and let's see what you got.
So do you suggest, obviously it's nice if they have a demo right there to be able to send to you, right? They meet you, they say you said it's in 2 weeks is the conference?
Yes,
2 weeks. Well, that's a nice time of year to be in Atlanta, right?
yes, yes, it is. I think conference starts on March. Well, yeah, March 24th.
I
So
love
yeah,
I love Atlanta. I haven't been there in a few years, but it's a nice
yeah,
area. So you're walking around Atlanta and you saw somebody that was performing and you liked what they did and you said you met them in the hallway of the conference and you said, "Send me your demo. Here's my card." Uh, Obviously, you love when they send you the demo that day, I would imagine, right? So
absolutely.
if they haven't ever created a demo, what would you consider to be a good enough demo? Like a professional demo or something that you would want to hear? Does it have to be a certain length or
There
what do you look?
definitely there are rules to it. Definitely, you first off, you want to be sure you're making a demo when you're ready to make a demo because they're not cheap. They're expensive. So you want to make sure you're investing in your art when you're ready to take it to market. So if you are making a demo, typically an animated demo is going to have about 5 to 7 characters on it. Probably a minute, 15, 20 seconds. If you're doing a commercial demo, it's going to be a little bit shorter. Same thing, about maybe 5 to 7 spots on it. Maybe a minute, 10 seconds is a commercial demo. Video game is going to, sort of fall under the same banner as animation about that. And you're looking to have range on there. You don't want everything sounding the same. You don't want to have multiple of the same product in commercials. You don't want to have a Toyota and a Lexus on there. You want to sort of circle and think about the brand, and there's amazing demo makers out there. I don't want to go heavy in the weeds on demo makers, but there's lots of demo makers out there that are amazing folks. So yeah, that's kind of the overall broad stroke of what we expect to hear on a demo.
Now, you said that you worked with youth and adult, but what's the youngest? Talking about youth, what's the youngest person that you've ever worked with?
Five,
Okay,
5 years old, 5 years old. Mhm.
nice. And
So
obviously,
so the
well,
work and the
probably doesn't.
work permit. Sorry, I
Okay.
was saying the magic age is 6, because it allows you because you have to have a work permit as a kid to work. The age, and most kids, any young thing younger than 5, you're feeding them lines. They're not really reading and interpreting themselves. So probably, 6 is the magic. 5 is perhaps the youngest. 6 is the magic age.
Okay. And they don't have a large resume. I would imagine somebody at 5 or 6 years old, they, they don't have a lot of experience starting out. But what caused you to want to work with somebody at that age? Just what stood
Well, we
out to
need them. We need, like, I'll give you an example. I have years ago, this is some years ago now, I had a young client who she hadn't done voiceover before. I had met her at an event, and she was just sort of, she was 6 at the time, and she was bossing all the other kids who were 10, 12, 14 years. And I was like, this girl's something else. She was so amazing. I get back to my office on Monday. There's a casting that absolutely described this young actress I had just met. And so I was like, and they had never done voiceover before. This is back way before the pandemic. And I said, I called up because they gave me their number. And so I called up the parents and I chatted with them. And I said, so this is what you want to do. Just record it. Don't worry about it. Nothing fancy. Just record it and send it to me. She sent it to me. I thought, oh, that's cute. She did a really good job on it. And I told her, I gave her some folks to coach with. So she got some coaching. Long story short, she books the job. It's a guest role on an animated series called Craig of the Creek. The role is Jessica, which is Craig's little sister. She's so good in the role that the show goes on a couple years that she gets a spin-off, and it's called Jessica's Big Little World. And now she's the lead on a series. And now, I mean, she's much older now. Now she's nominated for an Emmy Award for her role on that show, which is next Saturday, I'll say. So, and the young actress is Lucia Cunningham, and the show is, like I said, Jessica's Secret World. So that to say, you just never. I mean, this and I mean, you just never know. You just never know. And so we work with kids, like I have, like Toy Story 4, the young actress who booked the role of Bonnie, Madeline McGraw, amazing actress who's, 16 now and working feverishly in industry. But she came in, she auditioned for that role in the booth, and months went by. She was 6. She books the role. So all because, right, art imitates life. So we need ages 6, 10, 12, 14, 18, and so forth. So we need ages, all the kids roles on animated shows in Disney, Nickelodeon, not all, but a lot of them are voiced by real kids. So you need youth talent. So
and
it's
then
important.
obviously of all age, I mean, even somebody who's in elderly age, like
That's right.
you need voices for everybody. So
You
I
need
love
voices for
so
everybody. The bulk of the working is really 25 to 45.
that's the
That's
majority of
where,
the auditions
yeah,
you see.
and then it's 25 to 45, so 6 to 12, 12 to 18, and really 12 to 20, I should say, and then 25 to 18. I mean 25 to 45. So those are kind of the bulk, and then of course 50 to 70. So you
So
know what I mean.
she's nominated for the Emmy.
She's nominated for it's the Youth and Family Emmy category. The Emmys 3 years ago opened that up so that kids could get the opportunity really to be able to be nominated and win, because so much of it they would always get edged out by most of the adults in the Emmy category. So the Emmys recognized and they created these awards. So yeah, she's nominated for best actress in an animated series, Jessica's Big Little World.
Nice. That's awesome. That's exciting. Are you going to
Yes,
be, are you going to be
yes.
present? Are you going to be on the red carpet?
I am, and I'm really super excited. She's presenting at the awards next week. Also presenting with another client of mine, Isaac Wang, who is an amazing talent, on-camera actor, voice actor, amazing. So I'm particularly excited because I have two clients presenting, and I have a couple of clients on shows that are also nominated, but she is particularly nominated in her category. So, and it's such a beautiful story how it unfolded and how it started, and that she was just a, it was the world was probably going to work maybe 1 or 2 days, but she just brought so much to it that she inspired the writers to write more and then to
Awesome.
even write a series. So, these are things, right? Dreams are voiceover road is paved with these kinds of dreams. And part of my joy is to be able to bring them to people.
Right. No,
Yeah.
that's so exciting. I love that. So I love it because it actually hits on a point that, I talk to a lot of people in the industry, and it's such a small world once you get involved. And I always tell people, network, always bring your A game everywhere you go, always meet everybody that you're around, and be as friendly as possible, because you never know what doors are going to open. So here she is,
Absolutely.
supposed to be on a small little role, and they wrote a whole series based on her because they loved her so much.
Because they loved her so much. And what it was, I was actually I met her at a family event. And I was just like, who is this little girl? I mean, literally, she had the kids lined up and was like laying it down chapter and verse. And I was like, who is she? She is amazing. So that's raw, organic talent. And when you help to mold that, couple of classes here, a couple of classes there. You help to mold that. You know what I mean? Such reward comes out of that. Such beauty comes out of that. And opportunity. Now not only did she work, on two series, and I'm putting, she's made money. She's gonna have college money because all that money she makes goes into a Coogan account. So it's protected. It's for her when she turns 18, and she's not 18 yet. So, do you know? So, it's not only that, it's you have that joy of being able to work on a show and perform, and also, save for your future, which, she doesn't know, she understands that per se. But her parents do, so there is that. Hmm.
That's awesome. And obviously that gives you great fulfillment to see that and be a part of that journey. Now, on the Emmys, though, she's presenting, which I always think that's a good sign, isn't it? Like, let's be real. It seems like everybody who presents ends up winning in a
I'm
category.
not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I'm happy that they asked her to present. And it is my hope that she wins,
Right.
and to be she's 14 now, So to be 14 and nominated for your work, I just think that, there's, wow, you're 14 and you've achieved things that some folks, don't even get to in their lives. So there's a lot of joy in that.
Nice.
Lot of joy. I'm super
That's
proud.
awesome.
I have
I
to.
love
I'm a proud agent.
it. I love it. Speaking of your clients, I was looking on your IMDb. Just I always like to go on there and see, look around, and I always suggest that for anybody who's in the industry or starting out in the industry to go onto IMDb, and it's a great resource and to be able to learn about who people are and who their clients are. But I actually have been in a movie with one of your clients, Mr. Gary
Oh,
Busey.
oh, okay, yeah, good, easy, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's a character. I love him.
he
Yeah,
is, he is.
I was on a
He's
film
a
with
great
him
one.
on set, shooting a film, and this was probably back in, I want to say maybe mid '90s or late
Okay,
'90s. So it's been a
okay.
minute, but
Yeah, yeah, we get some campaign work for Gary. A lot of some commercial campaign work we've had for him. Some animation work comes in. He is the type of person that we get requests. He doesn't always. Every now and again, we'll have him read for something. Sometimes in animation, no matter who you are, they want to hear you read. So sometimes we'll get that request, but we also just get a lot of direct offers. That when you get to that level, sometimes that's what comes in, direct offers. And
and
that happens in the non-celebrity. Often what happens is that lots of auditions, right? We have so much content that we cover, which is good. I'm not complaining. Please bring me more. So we get auditions, lots, and we send them out. We send them out, and sometimes casting just calls and say, "Hey, we're going to book so and so on this role," even though they didn't read for it. We really like the work that they've been putting out, and it just hasn't panned out on those other jobs. But we want to offer this job, so we do get a lot of what we call direct bookings on actors, not celebrity status as well. So so you get the scope of my representation arc is that they go from age 6 to age 70 plus.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary is one of those guys. He just has a lot of energy, and I remember they would cut and they'd retake scenes, and he just will almost just go off script and just create his own energy, right? All the
Oh,
time.
totally, totally, absolutely.
I have a
Um,
quick
and when they book him, they know that's what they're getting.
right. You know what you're gonna get with Gary.
Hmm.
I have a question coming in from Joe. He's asking for singing voiceovers. Are there is it good if somebody has a singing voice and they want to do voiceover acting? Should on their demo reel should they maybe showcase that a little bit, like maybe like a jingle from a commercial, or how should they
Well,
showcase?
how we so singing is an asset. Yes, it's a plus. Yes, I always love that. And where we use it is in animation, right? Disney sings, Pixar sings, all the studios, Nickelodeon, DreamWorks. A lot of the shows have the characters sing. So if you're doing a commercial demo, no, no singing, no jingle, no nothing. If you're doing an animation demo, you want to sing in character. You don't want to just sing some, showcase your beautiful voice, but you're going to want to sing something that's related to perhaps a character that you've created on your demo. And then that way that will give and it's just a little sample of something. It'll give them like, oh, okay, they can sing. You know what I mean? So far less than 6 bars. You're probably going to want to sing maybe 6 bars. You know what I mean? If you're putting a little voice sample in it, and then once again, it's on your animation demo. So that would be the way that you would want to showcase your singing ability. Now, if you are submitting to an agent and you've got your voiceover demo, if you've got a singing demo, send that. Absolutely. If you got
Yeah.
a demo that showcases your voice with a couple of songs or maybe you're a recording artist and you record your own music, and publish your own music, then send us a little sample of that as well.
Okay. And they
I,
don't
I,
have to
I love
send.
I love actors who sing. I love it because we utilize that skill so much.
It's just a nice thing for you to know that they can do it and what styles of singing they offer.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to ask you this: how much does visualization techniques or exercises come into the voiceover world? Because I'm sitting here thinking about if I were doing a voiceover audition right now, what would I have to do to place myself in that moment? I know that kids probably have an easier time doing this, right? Because they have the pretending mindset that comes naturally to all of us. But as we grow older as adults, we kind of lose that
I think,
imagination.
yeah, I mean, visualization is helpful, but really in voiceover, it's about being able to connect what's going on in the character to yourself, and use skills like um, um, what we call substitution. So if for some reason, let's just make it simple. Let's just say you're vegan and you are going to read for a meat product, right? You've not held that line for yourself, even though that's what you believe for you, but you're still going to go ahead and present yourself and try to work on that. So you're doing that. And so you're not a meat eater. So you're going to need to use some substitution to be able to execute that script and tell it. I'm going to give a sidebar real quick. There are many definitions of acting. I'm going to give you two right now that are really important in the world of voiceover. One is acting is the ability to live truthfully within imaginary circumstances. I didn't write that. That is Lee Strasberg to say. So
Can you repeat that? I love that. Say that one more time.
sure. Acting is the ability to live truthfully within imaginary circumstances. So meaning you, as the actor, are always trying to find the truth of the character, the truth of the scene, all of that. You're trying to find it. You're not trying to imagine a world that's outside of yourself. You're trying to imagine a world that's coming through yourself, who you are. And so let's go back to the commercial. I don't eat meat. This is a meat spot. What can I do to make that connection? Aha, I have to find some substitution. So I do eat tofu and I love tofu. So what if I'm saying the words of meat, but I'm connecting from the inside from tofu? Aha, now we have truth because we're trying to get to the truth of what is happening. Second definition of acting. There's many. These are just two I love. The second is acting is reacting, meaning that you are looking at words on a page that you are to say. The writer has written them, but it is your job to figure out what those words you are saying are in response to someone saying something to you, someone doing something to you in some way. There's physical action happening. Acting is reacting. So back to our commercial script. What am I doing in this script? I don't need to be so heavily laden on the words in the script. What is happening? What is the scene in the script? Oh, it doesn't say. I get to create it. There comes your visualization. I get to create what is happening. I'm taking what's true in me, I'm taking what's true in the script analysis, and now I'm creating this world, this whole other world. And I'm talking about this pork that I absolutely love, but I'm thinking about my tofu. And understand. So that's how you take some visualization, as you said, and you make it yours. and you connect to it so that what you're delivering isn't just reading words on the page in a cool and fun way. Now you're telling a story of what's written. And that's the actor's journey, is to tell the story through emotion. Tell the story through our emotional world, because otherwise it's you're doing and you're reading. And acting isn't reading. Acting is what? Reacting. Acting is what? Acting is an ability. It is the ability to live truthfully through imaginary circumstances.
I love
And
that.
those are the yeah, those are not my definitions of acting. So I will not co-opt them and say they're mine. You can Google them and find out. Lee Strasberg said acting is the ability to live truthfully. In some place you'll see that it says Sandy Meisner, but it's Lee Strasberg, and or even Stanislavski. And and acting is reacting. I'm not sure, that might be Uta Hagen. I'm not sure, but I can't remember. But nonetheless, they aren't mine. I borrow and share.
Well, I appreciate you sharing with us today and spending the time on early Saturday morning for you here on your weekend. Do you have anything coming up that people can look out for
Sure.
to reach out to you,
Yeah,
meet you?
absolutely. I have. So myself and my fabulous client Malik Berger and business partner Malik Berger, we have an educational program called Indigo Voices, and we gather up casting directors and actors and voice directors and industry folks, and we provide a class for actors to come and take, taught by said people. And coming up in April, we're super excited. We've got a two-part class. The first part of the class is online and it's going to be taught by Malik Berger. So badass. The new rhyme in the new Pokemon Horizons. So that's amazing. Check that out. And secondly, the second part of the class will be in person at the Iongo stages in Burbank with Sarah Sherman. And Sarah Sherman is extraordinary casting director, voice director, amazing. Worked at Disney for 12, 15 years, went out on her own, hung up her own, casting voice director shingle. And so we're so gracious. It's so great to be able to have her, and that happens. The online is April 19th, and the in person for people in LA who want to come is on April 26th. It's only going to be 15 students, so it's really small and tight, and we've sold 10 seats already.
Okay.
So there are
So
only 5 seats away. There's 5 seats left in the class. You can find out about that on my LinkedIn. Portia Scott. Go to my LinkedIn. We've got a flyer up on it. Inbox me and let me know you want to know more about it, or you'd like to register, and we'll make sure to get you that info.
okay, perfect. So the best way to find information to be able to book that to be either in person or online is to look you up on your LinkedIn account.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. So
Or you
everybody,
can look on you can look on Malik Berger's LinkedIn account as well. So either one of ours.
perfect. And then I also know that your Instagram account's there. If they don't have access to LinkedIn, can they send you a private message on
Yes,
Instagram to get more?
absolutely. Sure
Perfect. And
can.
that's scrolling past at the bottom of the screen for anybody that's interested. Take note of that and reach out. And so, remind me the dates again. It's coming up in April.
Sure. So it's a two-part class. The online is April 19th, Saturday, April 19th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it's 3 hours. So you're getting 6 hours uh, in
Nice.
this session. So 3 hours, and then the next. So that's sort of a prep with for Sarah, and then Sarah's in-person session is on April 26th. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that will be in person at the amazing Iago stages in Burbank. And I don't know if you've been to those, but it's amazing stage. So, and it's a booth and a whole thing. So,
Nice. I
and
love
that's
it.
the first in person we've done since the pandemic. So
Oh,
we're super excited. Yeah,
well, that's fun. I love it. So obviously you'll be there in person as well.
I will be there. Yes, I will.
So a chance to meet you in person. Those of you who are interested, be sure to reach out and get in contact and get the information.
Yes,
Well,
yes. Thank you.
that concludes our time today. I know you have probably lots of plans this weekend to go enjoy that nice weather out there, but
I do.
I do appreciate you taking a little bit of time with us and giving us that useful information. Those of you who've wrote down notes, notepads are, I'm sure, are full of great stuff right now, and things to work on, websites to visit, classes to sign up for. What more can we need? That's
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 it. That's
that's
it.
what we need, right?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. I always, like I say, I always love coming to be able to share. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm a gate opener. So I like to be able to share as much information as possible, continue to raise the bar in industry as well. So
I love it. Obviously, you love helping people. That's why you're still doing what you're doing.
yeah, yeah, it is joy. I have to say. All
Well,
right, Dylan.
Portia, nice meeting you or nice seeing you again. Hopefully I'll
Yeah,
see you soon in person. I know the last time we were in person has probably been about almost 9 months ago, I think it was, but
yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
see you
I
in
think so too.
person sooner than that. And I
Okay.
look forward to our next session together.
Excellent. Me as well. Thank you so much. You enjoy your weekend too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
now.
now.